When we talk about great American storytellers, it's hard not to mention Stephen King, whose prolific bibliography has been adapted into over 60 movies and television. The most recent adaptation, Castle Rock, is airing on Hulu, and we have lots of thoughts, so stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
That's nice.
That intro.
That intro now.
It's
So
interesting.
different than
Yeah.
like the actual
I know, you weren't ready for it.
I
I
was
wasn't
not ready
ready
for
either.
it.
I was like,
The voice
are
was
we-
so relaxing.
Yeah.
That is our CEO and founder, Maria Menounos, because you guys are tuned into AfterBuzz TV, the network she founded, and we are, as you know, a TV coverage network. So today, naturally, we are covering a television show. This is the TV Pilot Review Show, guys. My name is Jeff. Let me be clear right now. This is a pilot review show only. Today we're reviewing one episode of television. That's Hulu's Castle Rock, and that's all we're reviewing. And next week we'll be reviewing a new show. But I actually do want to let you know that we have an after show for this show. And one of the after show panelists is sitting at the table with us. Veronica, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Guys, Veronica is on the Castle Rock after show. She's very graciously joining our panel today. So it's nice we have an insider who can spill all the tea. Thanks for being here. We also have DeAnJilo Platt
Hi.
and Linda Antwi.
Hi, guys.
And once again, my name is Jeff. We are covering Hulu's Castle Rock, as I mentioned. It just was released today, so we are hot off the presses. The after show beat us to it. They actually just covered the show about 2 hours ago. But again, this is a different show. We'll be getting a little less into the specifics of the show, be talking more generally about development and sort of the show as a whole, whether or not you should pass or play. But before we get into our coverage, there's a trailer for this show. We're going to watch it and we're going to react to it. So Bree, throw up that trailer. Ooh.
I thought that was the whole trailer.
The trailer was good.
Who are you? What's your name?
We got no records of you. How'd you get inside this prison? Who put you down that hole?
What brings you home?
I got a call from Shawshank. Found a kid in a cage.
Call from who?
Don't know yet.
How's it, big gun?
There's a place where lovers go to cry their troubles away, and they call it
People say
Lonesome Town,
every inch of this town
where the broken hearts stay,
is stained with someone's sin.
and the only price you pay.
I always thought the devil was just a metaphor. God help me, I did.
I'm telling you, there's something wrong with that kid.
Do you hear it now? You have no idea what's happening here, do you?
I can learn to forget.
Damn.
It just like the show, it just pulls you in.
Whoa.
Yeah. It just gave me way, way, way more. Wow.
I will say, I liked the pilot. I think that trailer even supersedes the pilot. And I mean, that's kind of the trend. I feel like every week,
The trailers are bomb.
television trailers have gotten very good in the last year.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Well, they have to. It's like they have to get you pulled in.
Yes,
To get you to watch the show.
competitive landscape in the world of TV today. I want to do overall thoughts for this pilot because you've already talked about it, Veronica. I'm going to save your thoughts. Let's start with Linda Antwi. How did you feel about the pilot overall, Linda?
I love the pilot overall. I thought that there was a lot going on, but it did keep my attention, and it actually kept me kind of jumping out of my seat the whole time.
Yeah.
So I overall, I was impressed.
Because my thoughts are similar, I'm going to jump in and then throw to D. Yeah, I agree. I think it was very, very well directed and very, very well performed. It was maybe 5% slow for me, but that's kind of the point. I think it's kind of a slow burn kind of show. And I will say, normally with shows that are paced this way, I do find myself drifting off. But there was something kind of intangibly compelling about it, like you said, where you just really couldn't take your eyes away from the screen. So even though I felt like the show deliberately left me in the dark in some certain points, that was intentional, and I'm still super excited to keep watching. So I'm here for it. DeAnJilo, how about you?
Yeah, I hate to like overpraise a show, but it earned it because we don't do that with every show.
We don't do this with every
knows.
show, yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to even think of a critique. I can't think of one right now, but the show was really good. I like shows that are like that kind of just give me questions and pull me along, and it was perfect for me. So.
Well, and we should say, before we keep going, DeAnJilo did cheat. We were sent screeners by Hulu.
I cheated heavy. That's how you know it worked.
He said I cheated heavy.
He cheated heavy. That's all right. I'm glad. So even episodes 2 and 3 you were liking.
Oh, yeah, it got better.
Okay, cool. And finally, Veronica, what did you think?
Yeah, no, I definitely loved the pilot episode. I think what makes this show so great, and you mentioned it in the beginning, Jeff, is that I feel like this show caters to veterans of Stephen King's work as well as maybe people who aren't as familiar with a lot of the hidden Easter eggs that were featured in the first episode. So it's kind of like that fun show where you get to explore. Because like for me, I felt like I was seeing cool little things that maybe weren't intentional to be references to previous works. And I really liked that. And I felt like it was a very fluid first episode, especially because they're pulling from a lot of different sources. And so I give them praise on that, because that is a very difficult thing to do, is to write a pilot with that much source material in that type of fluidity.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the Stephen King of it all, because important to note, the town of Castle Rock is the major setting for most of Stephen King's fiction. Stephen King, and I think I'm a casual Stephen King fan, so I think some of...
Very casual.
Are you casual as well, Veronica?
I would say
or?
I'm casual.
Okay, but you've seen most of his, at least, adapted material?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a huge Stephen King fan, just
Great.
so you know.
Awesome. You guys know Bree. That's the voice of Brianna in the booth. Even though Bree hasn't seen the pilot, I'm glad you're a super fan of Stephen King, Bree, because I think you'll have some insight. And have you read Stephen King as well, Bree?
I have.
Okay, cool. So you're familiar with the town of Castle Rock?
I am very familiar with it, yeah.
Great. Okay, so this show is set in the town of Castle Rock. Stephen King's from Maine. Most of his fiction is set in Maine. And even, Castle Rock Productions was a major production company that was promoting a lot of the early adaptations of his work in the 80s and 90s. Interestingly, though, this is a completely original story. So even though it's kind of loosely based on characters and locales from Stephen King's fiction, these characters are all new. It's more like it's the settings and locations. Like, obviously, Shawshank is the main setting of the prison in this show. So I think this show had to do the job of catering to people who love Stephen King and people who know nothing about Stephen King. So before we move on to specific coverage, do you guys think the pilot succeeded in reaching casual fans and Stephen King superfans?
I absolutely do, because although I casually know Stephen King and his works, I didn't know about this specific Castle Rock. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. And so I was completely drawn in. And I think that people who don't know his work, even if you just like thrillers or mystery and trying to figure things out, which we've talked about a lot on our show, this show does that very well. Or this pilot did that very well, for me at least.
Yeah. I mean, it seems obvious. It seems like, I think we all agree, but are we going to do our pass play as well?
Yeah, let's go through our pass or play.
Double play for me. So,
so just so you know, Veronica, what we did here is we're going to let our audience know whether we personally would continue to watch and if we would recommend audiences continue to watch as well. So are you a double play?
Yes.
Linda?
I'm a very strong double play.
Oh.
Strong double play, which I don't think I've ever said here yet.
Yeah, I'm a strong play personally. I think, and I don't see many audiences not liking this show.
except maybe Sam.
Maybe Sam.
Sam might not like this.
I think
Love you, Sam.
if you don't like horror or you don't like slow burn dramas, this might not be a show for you. Like, I don't know if my mom would love this show, but I think if you're a fan of well-written, elegantly directed dramas, this is going to be a show you'll like.
The thing about it too is that you're mentioning like a slow burn drama, but I feel that, and you can kind of get some of this in the pilot, is that it's not like it keeps you waiting around the entire show or the entire like first half of the season or the entire season even to give you answers.
Yeah.
Like, they give you some answers to make you go, okay, I can piece this together now. I'm liking this, but I still need to know to get the full idea. So it's a slow burn, but it gives you just enough to be like, I need more. You gave me some, now I need more.
That's a great point.
And then in the meantime, too, they give you a few shocks.
Yeah.
Like I literally was like this a few times during this pilot. So again, even though it's a slow burn, they give you some answers and they also give you some shocks. That's why I think it like continues to draw you in.
Yeah. You want to feel like as a viewer that the writers know what they're doing. You know, that they're steering a ship, that you feel like you are on safe waters. And I don't want to trash talk David Lynch because he's a genius, but people might argue that the most recent season of Twin Peaks, which it's hard not to compare this show to Twin Peaks in some ways, right?
Yeah.
It's a moody, murder-surrounded small town kind of show. People might argue that Twin Peaks is a slow burn that doesn't necessarily give you answers. So, well, do you respectfully disagree? It's totally fine if you do.
I do.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. But I would say this show is maybe more for a conventional audience than Twin Peaks.
I would definitely agree with you on that.
Definitely. So, okay, those are our overall thoughts on Castle Rock. Just so you guys know, the further we go, the more spoilery we're gonna get. So if you wanted just our general opinions, we've given them to you now. And we're gonna get into spoiler territory. So there it is.
Spoiler alert!
Yes.
Spoiler alert!
So the basic log line of Castle Rock, and you guys can fill in any gaps, is we're following basically a sort of estranged lawyer who is from the town of Castle Rock who defends potential death row inmates. And he gets placed to protect Bill Skarsgård's character, the kid, who doesn't even have a name yet.
He's just like known as the Shawshank Prisoner. That's how much of a mystery he is.
Yes. And he's a very Kingian character in the sense of, like, we don't know much about him. He's quiet and spooky and weird. And that's the basic premise. That's kind of most of what we learned in the first episode. Let's talk a bit about the development of this show before we dive into specific coverage. Again, this is a Stephen King project. It was originally going to be... It's produced by Warner's, and it was originally going to be produced for another network, but Hulu picked it up. It kind of seems like... Do you guys feel like this is Hulu's attempt to compete with Stranger Things?
Yes. That is excellent.
Maybe not directly. You think directly?
No.
Yeah, well, like small town mystery. I get what you're saying.
Genre.
Jeff. Yes, I get that.
I mean, is American Horror Story a fair comparison to this?
See, it's a little more genre to me. I think this show is in some ways kind of conventional. Like, I feel like it's it does feel like it's a mass appeal kind of show, whereas I don't think Ryan Murphy is necessarily trying to do like mass appeal type of shows. But it is a horror show, so like I think there's that. But I think in the same way that Stranger Things is trying to like rely on like almost that kind of classic 80s storytelling, I do feel some of that in this show, just in a different lens. But it just seems like this is the same kind of mass appeal genre show that I think Stranger Things was trying to grab. Casting, let's talk a bit about these characters. Andre Holland is our lead as Henry Deaver, this lawyer. I'm liking him a lot. How do you guys feel about this lead?
So far, so good. I'm really enjoying how he's portraying this character. Just because, see, it's tough, Jeff, because I just came from reviewing the first 2 episodes, so I'm kind of like, where does the pilot end for me?
Right.
But
Keep it general.
Keep it general. So basically, I think that he is a character with a really big backstory that I'm very excited to see how he will go about portraying that.
Yeah, I was asking you guys before if we had seen him before, because he definitely, the way he did the role made me feel like, oh, he's done stuff like this for a while. Maybe he has, but he handled this like very well. I was definitely like invested in him as a character and all this stuff. So good job.
He's definitely layered as well too. So as they were building his backstory in the pilot, his character showed that. So you saw like just like the family part, the insecurity part, but also the caring part of his character. So overall, it was like, this guy is really layered, and I'm interested to see, like you guys said, where he takes it and how he portrays it.
Yeah, I feel like there's one part I just need to like get off my chest. I'm like kind of upset. Not that I was upset by, but it's like a prototypical horror movie moment where the cop, when they first discovered him in the crater, And like he just
yeah.
keeps going further in the dark, and I'm like, this is what we tell white people not to do in horror movies.
Why would you go
Like, why are you
further
doing
to the
this?
creepy place?
I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Most importantly, I don't want to experience this right now.
Yeah, it was intense.
That was good.
Well, I'm glad you brought up that scene because that's, of course, when we're introduced to the kid played by Bill Skarsgård, who at this point is kind of like a Kingian staple, huh? Because he played Pennywise in the most recent It. How did you guys feel? I really like Bill Skarsgård. He might be my favorite Skarsgård. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah?
Yes.
How do you guys feel about Bill Skarsgård in this show?
I mean, I'm really liking his character so far. I think obviously it's a very dramatic change from what we have seen him in previously when he was portraying Pennywise. I think he's also a very layered character. And in the pilot, I felt very conflicted with him because there's a reason he's locked up, but after he comes out, he's like so shocked by the outside world. He like doesn't, he doesn't know what's going on around him, and he almost feels like you want to like take care of him.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do I feel? Do I like you? Should I be weary of you? Like, what's going on? And I thought that was very great that he was able to make me feel that in that portrayal.
And it was another moment when I couldn't help but think of Stranger Things. Because didn't you guys see 11 with him? Or no?
In what sense?
Isolated, traumatized, wanting to empathize, silent, quiet person, mystery person, without a name. I don't know.
I don't think I first got that
They're
vibe,
not similar,
but
they're
I
just-
get what you're saying for sure.
They're both tropey, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I kept feeling like this was like, again, Hulu's attempt to sort of, like, pull from Stranger Things, but
You're
still do
just
its own
on this
thing.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Bit.
I don't know.
You
I
were
don't
trying
know.
to prove
you're
it.
reaching.
Especially because Hopper and Deakins are both estranged residents who are trying to reclaim their identity in the town they're from. And both of them are classic that guy actors. Do you know what I mean? Where, like, we didn't know who Andre Holland was, but we kind of did. I totally feel that way about David Harbour in Stranger Things, too. Where it's, like, a long list of credits, but, like, this is their moment. Maybe I'm pushing this too hard.
He really thought this through.
I
I
haven't watched Stranger Things, so that's why it's hard for me to actually answer this.
That's fair.
But I want to believe that, I think everybody pulls on influences from someone else. So.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about Bill Skarsgård's performance, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, it's really hard to do a wordless performance.
Yeah.
And Linda, I feel like you're totally buying this.
I am buying it 150%, and I agree with you that I think that being able to show your emotions just like through face and body is not easy to do, and I don't think all actors can do it, and he's really killing it.
I wonder how he prepared for that.
Right.
Well, I know mentally and physically it was a very big role for him. Because again, you have to be able to portray, this character and how you're feeling without saying any words. But he also had to lose weight to portray this man who has been caged up, most likely with no food, no water, very malnourished. And so the fact that he, was very serious and was able to be both physical and mental was very, very committed. Yeah.
We definitely got the obligatory, like, look how skinny this
Yeah,
actor
exactly.
got. There's always one of those where they have to be naked somehow just so you can be like, whoa, they're skinny.
Yeah.
But it is props to him because he does. He definitely got into the role. And, the Skarsgårds, they're a busy family, but Bill, he's rising up the ranks for me. I don't know what you guys
So
think.
we have to critique this show. We can't, say all positives. Do you guys have a critique when it comes to this show?
Yeah, I have a couple.
Okay.
What do you think? You start.
I'm putting it out there so I can think while you guys answer.
Fair
He
enough.
needs to think of one
Yes.
because he doesn't have one.
Exactly.
I feel like it was paced a little slowly for me. Sorry, I'm gonna do it. But if I'm thinking of other like mass appeal genre shows, it's hard not to think of Stranger Things. To me, like that is a show that's just a perfect example of serialized plot pacing over multiple episodes. Just for me, I just think that show's like a masterclass in that. And I'm not sure this has quite the same taut control over the narrative that's being told, at least not to me yet, based on just the pilot. But that's a slight critique, and that could be just a taste thing as an audience. I guess moments of not even the writing, but the plotting, I wonder if we could see a bit more like narrative thrust, personally.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Any critiques from anyone else, though?
Still haven't done one. I'm three episodes in, man. It got really good.
Well, I'm gonna
I
keep
did
watching.
myself disservice. Yeah.
Speaking of the writing, it's interesting because even though Stephen King's an EP on the show and it's based on his properties, he's not really writing on this. The show was created by, I have their names, because I have the list of EPs, by Sam Shaw and Dustin Thomason, who have some writing credits, but this is kind of their first big outing as show creators. So it's a big swing for them.
What a project.
Yeah.
They're doing their thing.
Go out swim.
Yeah, it's a big kind of risk for Hulu, but it's looking like it's going to pay off.
I think the numbers will be good too. This is one of the rare shows where I can say I actually heard about it before.
Yeah.
Because that hasn't happened for me recently. So that's also a good job at advertising.
Definitely. Well, it's J.J. Abrams, too, which I didn't mention, but he definitely has some power. Okay, let's talk about the direction in this pilot, because to me, this is one of the standouts. I think it's rare that television direction feels so sure-handed, but I really felt like this was a really well-directed episode of TV. How did you guys feel?
Who was the director on this?
I have the name. No, I don't. Bree, can you look up the director of the pilot? I think it's Michelle. I'm pretty sure it was a woman. Michelle, long last name. But Bree, if you could get that for us, that'd be awesome.
In the meantime, I agree with Jeff. I think that it was really well directed, and I also think that it guided the audience. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like step by step, without being like baby steps, you were guiding me through this entire pilot, and it was a great job.
It was directed by Michael Uppendahl.
Michael Uppendahl. Dang it. I wanted it to be a woman.
Yeah, that's all right.
I said Michelle.
Would have been dope. But I can't even like. I remember seeing it starting at the beginning. It said 54 minutes. I'm like, oh, Jeff, okay. But it just went by so quick.
Fast.
And, which says everything about the pacing, the acting. It just came together very well. It's not too often you get something that's close to a perfect pilot in this genre, and I think they just did.
It's a good point.
They did so well, man.
Yeah, I think sometimes shows like this, you can feel like the actors are living in different shows depending on the scene, where it's like, okay, Bill Skarsgård's this like crazy quiet kid, but like Melanie Linsky's this quirky real estate agent. But like, I really do feel like this show was directed in such a way that I believed everyone was occupying the same world and like living in the same TV show, which I think is a common problem for pilots. So I was really impressed by just how tonally consistent this show was, because this isn't an easy show to direct.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've even set it up in a way where they have set the world up in a way where they could do some pretty outlandish things and I'll accept it.
Yes.
Which is like great.
That's a great point. Well, I feel like I've kind of shared a lot of how I felt about this pilot. Anything I'm missing? I mean, it's great to see Sissy Spacek, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I did like about, or I really enjoyed about the show, and you can even see it in the trailer that just played. Is like, it feels just like one big reunion of Stephen King actors, because you've got all these beloved actors from previous adaptations. You got Sissy Spacek, as you said, Bill Skarsgård, Melanie Linsky, just all these people coming back. And so not only is the series itself like getting you in, but the cast as well. You've got a pretty top-notch cast.
And do you think that helps in shaping how well this show is becoming, because they're familiar with his works already? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I trying to...
Ask it again.
So I'm wondering if, because there are people that have worked with Stephen King, like entities before, if that shapes how well this pilot seems to have come together, because they're familiar with not his specific writing style, but his genre.
His tone.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, even because it could even be that some of the crew are back. You know what I mean? Like, it is, if there is this like reunion element, it might be a nice advantage for the production team as they enter. It's a really interesting thought, Linda.
I'm gonna think about it some more.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some other... Did you guys see any other King allusions that I might have missed? I mean, obviously Shawshank. We have Sissy Spacek and Bill Skarsgård. I'm sure there was stuff I missed, so I'm wondering if there's anything that you guys caught that was kind of fun, little nods in the pilot.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, on the after show, talked about a lot of the Easter eggs that we saw. A couple of them that were standouts were... oh gosh, I actually don't even know if this is from the pilot. It's probably not.
That's okay. We'll save it. For those in the comments who are King super fans, I'm personally not, which might not make me the most qualified to talk on this show, but let us know in the comments if you saw any like really cool Stephen King allusions, because I'd love to sort of have a discussion with you about that.
Something that did happen in the pilot that, again, I don't know if this was their intention, but it's definitely something that I alluded to, was when one of the corrections officers, Dennis, was going down into the cage, and he finds Bill Skarsgård. I kind of thought of it as a Pennywise reference because you know how Pennywise is like down in the sewers and he finds Bill Skarsgård down in the cage and he played Pennywise. I don't know if that was intentional, but that is definitely where my mind went. And I feel like that's something that the show does well is they give you intentional Easter eggs and they give you things that maybe aren't intentional, but they're glad that the fans of the show are thinking that way.
Yeah. Okay, this will be the last time I do it, I promise.
Stranger Things.
Well, the kids ride bikes everywhere in Stranger Things. And of course, kids ride bikes. But when you have that frame of reference, you can't help but think like, oh my gosh, there's E.T. happening right in front of me.
Oh,
you
for
know?
real. Yep.
So I totally know what you're saying. And it's
good.
just, it's that light touch that just makes you feel something almost intangibly connected to King properties. It's really cool. I think all of us seem to really like this pilot.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some critics are saying that the show is burdened by its responsibility to like play to the King fan. Did you guys feel like you were like having to deal with fan service at all, or did you feel like you could get through it fine?
I personally felt like it was subtle. Granted, you know, I'll be perfectly honest and say that there were a lot of references, some of them very, you know, deep. The Stephen King fans would recognize, maybe some who won't. But I thought it was very subtle. It was never like they were hitting you on the head saying this is a reference. So I think they cater to the fans, but they also cater to the audience that has maybe really liked the adaptations or really just like the world he creates in his mythology.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be shocked to find out that people didn't see any King references from watching this. So I don't think they beat people down the head with this at all. I think it was
agree.
just a good blend.
And that's hard to do. So
Yeah.
I have to applaud this production team.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some more segments, but before we move on, any last thoughts about the pilot itself? Great. I think we all liked it, guys. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead then, and we are going to rate this pilot. Okay. This is always a very controversial...
For Jeff and Linda only, actually. They're going at it with these ratings.
But you know what's interesting is that I think this is one of the first times that we've actually agreed on a lot.
Yes.
Of things.
Somehow your rating will still be very different.
I'm going to give it like a 1. She's like, what? All right, I'm going to start...
Alone together.
We're rating it out of 5, and I'm springing this on Veronica last minute, so you can go last. I'll give you some time to think about it. D, out of 5, what would you give this?
Yeah, I'm going high. 4.6.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah, I'm going to be right up there with him. I'm going to say 4.5.
I'm going to say 4.3. We're on the 4s.
Yeah, I'd also say 4.5.
4.5. Okay. You got
okay,
4
so but
ratings
why
and
is
4
this not a 5, guys? If we had no critiques, why is this not a 5?
I think because it's still the pilot, and there's still a lot, because it does have so many Stephen King properties, it's a lot of world building. So it still has a lot more it can give us.
Do you think there can ever be a perfect pilot?
Oh, that's a tough question. I feel like a perfect pilot is up to the viewer.
Yeah.
Well said. We gave
Very politically correct.
We've given 1.5 on this panel.
Have we? For what?
Mrs. Maisel.
Oh yeah, but that one earned it. So
That one earned it. Yeah.
that's the
I
standard.
wasn't on the panel yet.
I know that was pre-Linda.
Yeah.
And that show's not even out.
I know.
If that's the standard, then this is not a 5 for sure.
Yes. Okay. Do you guys expect a second season of this show?
For sure.
Oh, that's the one thing I wanted to say. With this show, I need a conclusion. I can't have them drawing this out for like a long time.
Yeah.
I'll be really upset if they just decide, to throw stuff in there and like never give me an ending. I just feel like I need that as a viewer.
How many episodes are in this season?
10.
10?
Do you think you could be satisfied with a conclusion to this specific story, but then something else happens?
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So wait, are you saying you want a conclusion this season?
I mean, that'd be nice, but I know people need to make money. If it just needs to happen, like I don't want them to, because otherwise it'll become like our critique of Twin Peaks is like then you just start throwing stuff in there and it doesn't make sense and you're like kind of dragging it out and it's just like I think the best shows know when to end their show, so I hope that this falls into that category.
Yeah. We need some doors to shut.
Something.
At the end of the season. I don't want to have every door that's been open left open on episode 10. But I would think there's a lot of juice behind this show, and I'm anticipating a second season.
Yeah.
Hulu doesn't really give us ratings. A lot of these streaming services don't. It'd be interesting if they did, but I would think a show like this would draw people to there. Do you guys think this is a smart investment for Hulu?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I don't go 3 episodes in for no reason.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's funny. Handmaid's Tale obviously was a game changer for Hulu, but interestingly, still isn't doing amazing in ratings in terms of like middle America. Like it feels when you live in LA, like there's
Handmaid's Tale?
Yeah. Like there's a Handmaid on every corner, but more people watched Cobra Kai on YouTube Red than Handmaid's Tale.
Really? Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
I watched Handmaid's Tale with someone and I was like, this is so weird, but I couldn't stop watching. But
Yeah.
I can't talk myself into rewatching it. It's just so
It's
out of the
tough.
box.
It's
so
very
good.
serious.
Yeah.
But it's one of those shows where like you can know it's good, but you don't necessarily enjoy watching
Exactly.
it, even though it's like obviously a brilliant show.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think, is like an enjoyable show, which
Yeah.
might appeal to like more of a middle America demo. So this could be a game changer for Hulu. We'll have to see. The last thing we do for you all listening is give you some other references of shows that we think, if you like this, if you like X, you'll also like Y. I'm going to go not first because the show I'm going to say...
I'm going to say something. I don't know where I came up with this, but
If you like Stranger Things,
Thank you, Linda. Linda has my back.
then you will definitely love this show.
Linda has my back. DeAnJilo, go
that
ahead.
was going to be my joke, but she took it. It's all good.
Yeah.
No worries.
I think maybe American Horror Story. I mean, anything King, right?
Anything King. Would you also maybe say specifically the first season of Twin Peaks?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, Twin Peaks, for sure. Any other thoughts of if you like X? Yeah.
I just think if
Fargo?
you like any mystery, Fargo maybe.
The show,
Yeah,
specifically.
if you like any mystery type shows and like drama, then you're really gonna. I know that's very vague, but I think
What's
that
the
you're gonna.
British show you like with Idris Elba?
Yeah, that. I can't think of the name of it.
Luther.
Luther.
Got
If you
your
love
back,
Luther,
homie.
you'll love this.
Yeah. Any last
Except
thoughts?
Idris Elba's in it, so you can't really like it as
know.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No Idris.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts on Castle Rock before we make our way out, you guys?
I think you should totally invest in it.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
Veronica, when is the after show airing?
Yeah, the after show airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and you can always catch on the YouTube Sci-Fi Supernatural channel or catch us on iTunes.
Great. So that's 7 p.m. Pacific on the Sci-Fi channel. Check it out. We're here on Wednesdays as well at
2 hours
9
after.
p.m. Pacific, 2 hours after, and we're reviewing a new pilot every week. So this is the last you'll hear about Castle Rock on our show, unfortunately. But fortunately, we'll be talking about a brand new show next week. I'm Jeff. I will be here next week along with my amazing panel, including Miss Linda Antwi.
Hey guys, I love hearing from you, so hit me up. I'm on social media at Linda is So Girly.
How about you, Veronica?
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at It's Me, Veronica V, and of course the Castle Rock After Show.
And finally, DeAnJilo.
And I'm DeAnJilo. You can hit me up on Twitter at DeAnJilo TV or on Instagram at DeAnJilo. Just DeAnJilo. And then I'll be here next week.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. We will see you next week here on TV Pilot Review.
Bye guys.
Deuces.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.